High above Earth's atmosphere, the galactic survey ship Eternal Observer maintained its vigilant watch. Commander Zix 427 stood at the bridge's panoramic viewport, their crystalline form refracting the blue glow of the planet below. After 3 centuries of covered observation, the commander still found Earth's inhabitants endlessly fascinating. Another anomaly detected in the Pacific tectonic plate, Commander, reported Science Officer Ven. Their mineral surfaces pulsing with concerned amber light. The pattern matches our predictions. The commander's crystalline structure hummed in acknowledgement. The ship's sensors had been tracking increasing instability along Earth's ring of fire for months. Their advanced calculations predicted an unprecedented series of earthquakes would soon strike multiple population centers simultaneously. Reminder, Commander, First Officer Krell interjected, their facets displaying the strict patterns of protocol. The Prime Directive forbids interference. We are here only to observe and evaluate. I'm well aware of protocol, Krell, Zix 427 responded, their tone carrying centuries of experience. But I'm more interested in what these humans will do when the disaster strikes. In all our years of observation, they've never failed to surprise us. As if triggered by those words, the ship's sensors erupted in urgent alerts. The Pacific plate had begun to shift. Multiple earthquakes, far stronger than humans had ever recorded, were about to devastate coastal cities across the region. The bridge crew watched in tense silence as the first tremors hit. Tokyo, Manila, San Francisco, and dozens of other cities felt the earth convulse beneath them. Skyscrapers swayed, roads buckled, and tsunami warnings blared across the Pacific. But what happened next made even the crystalline aliens vibrate with astonishment. Before the first aftershock had faded, human emergency responses began mobilizing. In Japan, earthquake-resistant buildings automatically engaged their stabilization systems. In the Philippines, community disaster response teams were already moving through streets, helping people evacuate. Along the American West Coast, emergency services coordinated with military units to begin rescue operations. Remarkable, Ven observed, their surface now pulsing with excited blue light. They're not panicking. Their disaster protocols are activating exactly as they planned. Look at their communication networks, Krell added, their strict patterns wavering with grudging admiration. They're coordinating across national boundaries without hesitation. Chinese rescue teams are already mobilizing to assist Japan. American ships are moving to help the Philippines. Commander Zix 427 watched as countless small acts of heroism began playing out below. Ordinary humans ran toward danger instead of away from it. People helped strangers without hesitation. Communities transformed into coordinated rescue operations within minutes. Do you know what makes humans truly unique among all the species we've observed? The commander asked, their crystalline form glowing with warm appreciation. It's not their technology or their intelligence. It's this, their instinct to help each other, even at great personal risk. They watched as a Japanese rescue worker pulled children from a collapsed school, as Filipino fishermen turned their boats around to help evacuate coastal areas, as American firefighters rushed into unstable buildings to save trapped survivors. In 3 centuries of observation, the commander continued, we've seen them face countless disasters. Every time, they emerge stronger, more united. They don't just survive. They learn, adapt, and help each other rebuild. But Commander, Krell protested, though their strict patterns were now showing signs of uncertainty. Our mission is to evaluate their readiness for galactic civilization. These primitive emotional responses are exactly why they're ready, Zix 427 interrupted. Look below. While we debate, they act. While we observe, they save lives. Perhaps it's time we questioned what truly makes a civilization advanced. The commander's form pulsed with decisive purple light. Send the signal. Begin preparation for first contact. Commander. Krell's patterns shifted to alarmed red. The protocols. Sometimes, First Officer, the most advanced thing we can do is learn from those we thought primitive. Humanity has just proven themselves ready for galactic civilization, not despite their emotional responses to crisis, but because of them. As the eternal observer prepared to reveal itself to Earth, the commander watched humans continue their rescue efforts below. In all their centuries of watching humanity, they had learned one certainty. When disaster struck, humans showed their true strength, not in their technology or weapons, but in their unwavering drive to help each other survive. The United Nations General Assembly Hall buzzed with tension as world leaders gathered for an unprecedented emergency session. 12 hours had passed since crystalline ships had appeared above major cities worldwide, their sudden revelation sending shockwaves through human civilization. Yet instead of panic, humanity had responded with remarkable composure, perhaps because they were still focused on earthquake recovery efforts. Security Council President Chen stood at the podium, maintaining remarkable calm as she addressed both the assembled human leaders and the hovering hologram of Commander X-427. "Let me be clear about what you're telling us," she said, her voice steady. "You've been watching Earth for 3 centuries. The commander's crystalline form shimmered with affirming blue light. "Correct. We are part of the Galactic Survey Corps, tasked with evaluating developing civilizations for potential membership in the greater galactic community." "And yesterday's earthquakes?" asked the Japanese Prime Minister, his face still showing strain from coordinating his nation's ongoing rescue efforts. The commander's light patterns shifted to a more subdued hue, a test, one that your species was never meant to know about. The Galactic Council has traditionally believed that true civilization can only be measured by how a species responds to crisis. Murmurs of shock and anger rippled through the assembly. The Australian representative stood up, her voice sharp. "You deliberately caused those disasters. People died." "No." The commander's form pulsed with what seemed like regret. "We predicted the earthquakes would occur naturally. Our test was to remain hidden and observe your response. But your actions, their crystalline surface rippled with unexpected colors. Your response exceeded anything we had anticipated. It challenged everything we thought we knew about civilizational advancement." The UN Secretary-General leaned forward. "Explain." "In our 3 centuries of observation, we've watched your species face countless disasters, both natural and self-inflicted. We've seen your wars, your environmental challenges, your social struggles. But we've also seen something unique: your capacity to unite in crisis, to help strangers without hesitation, to put aside differences when survival demands it." The commander's form expanded slightly, projecting images of the previous day's rescue efforts. "Look at what you achieved in mere hours. International rescue teams coordinating seamlessly, civilian volunteers organizing support networks, military forces from historical rival nations working together to evacuate coastal areas. You didn't wait for official protocols or permissions. You simply acted to save lives." "That's basic human decency," the Indian Defense Minister interjected. "Are you saying other species don't help each other during disasters?" The commander's light patterns shifted to what might have been embarrassment. "Most advanced species we've encountered have developed complex protocols for crisis response. They wait for official approval, follow predetermined hierarchies, calculate cost-benefit ratios before acting. While people die." The Brazilian president's voice was incredulous. "Precisely." The commander's form pulsed with intense light. "Your basic human decency, as you call it, is extraordinary from our perspective. You have technology far behind many species we've encountered, yet your instinctive drive to help others, even at personal risk, marks you as uniquely advanced in ways we're only beginning to understand." President Chen's eyes narrowed. "So what happens now? Having revealed yourselves, having witnessed our response to your test, what does the Galactic Council intend?" The commander's form shifted to formal patterns. "Traditionally, we would continue observation for several more centuries. However, their light rippled with what seemed like determination. I am recommending immediate invitation to the Galactic Council with a unique caveat, which is, That you teach us. The commander's admission sent another wave of murmurs through the assembly. Your species has something the galactic community desperately needs, not technology or resources, but this fundamental understanding that true civilization isn't measured by scientific advancement alone, but by how we help each other in times of crisis. The hall fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had just been offered a seat at an interstellar table, not because of their technological achievements, but because of their capacity for compassion and unity in the face of disaster. The Secretary General stood slowly. Commander, we will need time to discuss this as a global community. But while we deliberate, there are still people who need help in the earthquake zones. Would your ships be willing to assist in rescue operations? It would give us a chance to demonstrate firsthand what you claim to admire about our species. The commander's form blazed with bright approval. We would be honored to learn from you in action, rather than just observation. As the assembly moved to coordinate this unprecedented cooperation, Commander 6427 reflected that perhaps this was the greatest test of all, not just humanity's response to crisis, but the willingness of an advanced civilization to admit it had something vital to learn from a species it had once considered primitive. In the debris-strewn streets of Manila, Fire Chief Maria Santos watched as crystalline aliens worked alongside her rescue team, their translucent forms glowing with various colors as they helped search for survivors. 3 days had passed since the earthquakes and first contact, and the sight of humans and aliens working together had already become surprisingly normal. Chief Santos called out Commander 6427's holographic form. Your thermal imaging technology has detected possible life signs beneath that collapsed structure. The alien's crystalline projection pointed toward a crumbling apartment building. Our sensors confirm 3 distinct heartbeats, but the building's stability is critically compromised. Maria studied the structure, years of experience letting her quickly assess the risks. Too unstable for your recovery drones. Correct. Our technology cannot safely navigate the debris without risking further collapse. The commander's form pulsed with what she had learned was frustration. The logical course would be to wait for heavy equipment to stabilize the structure first. Maria was already strapping on her gear. Those people don't have that kind of time. She turned to her team. Rodriguez, Chen, you're with me. Standard search and rescue protocol. The rest of you, coordinate with our alien friends on support and stability monitoring. Chief Santos, the commander's form flickered with concern. Our calculations indicate a 64% chance of complete structural failure if anyone enters now. She checked her oxygen tank with practiced efficiency. Then we better work fast. You wanted to learn how humans handle crisis. Watch and learn. The next 30 minutes demonstrated exactly what the aliens found so fascinating about humanity. Maria's team moved through the unstable building with a combination of trained precision and intuitive adaptation. When standard procedures wouldn't work, they improvised. When paths were blocked, they found new ones, all while the aliens watched, their crystalline forms pulsing with a mix of anxiety and amazement. I don't understand. First Officer Krell's hologram said to a Filipino police officer coordinating the perimeter. They know the statistical risks. They have families of their own. Why do they continue? The officer watched as Maria's team carefully extracted the first survivor, a young girl clutching a stuffed animal, because someone else's family needs them more right now. Inside the building, Maria and her team had reached the other survivors, an elderly couple trapped in what had once been their living room. As they worked to stabilize and extract them, Maria's radio crackled with urgent news from the alien sensors. The building's remaining support structures were failing. Chief Rodriguez called out, helping secure the elderly man to a rescue board. We're out of time. Maria looked at the couple, then at her team, then at the rapidly deteriorating ceiling. In that moment, she made a decision that would later be discussed in alien academies across the galaxy. Commander, she radioed, your ships can generate force fields, correct? Affirmative, but they're not rated for I need you to catch this building, just for about 30 seconds. Can you do it?" There was a pause filled only by the ominous creaking of failing structure. Then, "We have never attempted such a precise application of our technology. The calculations. Sometimes you have to stop calculating and start acting," Maria interrupted. "People's lives depend on split-second decisions. Are you with us?" The commander's hologram pulsed with unexpected colors. "Yes, we are with you." 30 seconds. What happened next became legend in both human and alien accounts. As the building began its final collapse, multiple alien ships positioned themselves strategically around it. Their force fields, normally used for ship protection, were repurposed on the fly to hold up key structural points just long enough for Maria's team to hit everyone out. The moment they cleared the building, it collapsed into a controlled pile of rubble, guided by alien force fields to minimize damage to surrounding structures. The gathered crowd, human and alien alike, erupted in cheers. Later, as medical teams treated the survivors, Commander Zix 427 approached Maria. "That was unprecedented. You forced us to use our technology in ways we had never considered, all while risking your own life on probability calculations that would have made any rational species hesitate." Maria removed her dust-covered helmet. "With respect, Commander, maybe that's why your civilization needs us. You have amazing technology, but in a crisis, sometimes you need people willing to look at the impossible and say, 'Let's try anyway.'" The commander's form shimmered with thoughtful light patterns. "We came to test humanity's readiness for galactic civilization. Instead, you are teaching us what civilization truly means." They gestured to where the elderly couple was being reunited with their crying family. "Every time we think we understand human behavior, you surprise us with your capacity for both rational courage and emotional intelligence. That's because you are still thinking of them as separate things," Maria said, watching her team already preparing for their next rescue operation. "The best of humanity comes when we combine both, when we use our hearts to choose the right thing to do, and our heads to figure out how to do it." As they spoke, reports came in from around the Pacific Rim. Similar scenes of human-alien cooperation leading to successful rescues, each one teaching both species something new about the true meaning of advanced civilization. 1 month after the earthquakes, the Galactic Council's Grand Chamber housed an unprecedented gathering. The crystalline forms of council members cast prismatic lights across the vast hall as they witnessed something none had expected: a human teaching aliens about crisis response. Dr. Sarah Chen, former UN Security Council President, stood confidently before the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds. Behind her, holographic displays showed footage from Earth's recent disasters and rescue efforts. "The problem," she explained, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's perfect acoustics, "isn't with your technology. It's with your paradigm. You've achieved incredible scientific advancement, but somewhere along the way, you began to prioritize efficiency over empathy." The council members' crystalline forms shifted with various emotions as she played footage of human rescue workers rushing into dangerous situations to save strangers. "Your species is irrational," declared High Counselor Vex, their form pulsing with stern red light. "You risk multiple lives to save one. The mathematics cannot measure the worth of a single life," Sarah interrupted, "or the impact of showing people that every life matters. When we save one person, we strengthen the bonds of our entire civilization." Commander Zix 427, now Earth's official advocate to the Council, moved their crystalline form forward. "Counselors, I once shared your perspective, but after witnessing humanity's response to crisis firsthand, I've learned that their approach, while seemingly chaotic, achieves something our logical systems never have." The commander projected their own recordings, showing the Manila rescue operation, where humans and aliens had worked together to save the elderly couple. "Watch how they combine planned protocols with instantaneous adaptation. See how their emotional investment doesn't impair their judgment, but rather drives them to find creative solutions we would never consider." They've taught us that true advancement isn't just about technological capability. It's about maintaining our connection to the fundamental value of life. A younger council member, their form showing swirling patterns of curiosity, spoke up. But how do they do it? How do they overcome the natural instinct for self-preservation? Sarah smiled. We don't overcome it. We expand it. Humans have learned to see everyone as part of our extended family. When we help strangers, we're strengthening the social bonds that help our entire species survive. It's not just altruism, it's practical evolution. She switched the display to show scenes from around Earth, alien technology being integrated into human rescue operations, human crisis response techniques being taught to alien observers, joint teams conducting disaster preparedness drills. In just 1 month, this cooperation has already improved both our species' capabilities. Your technology, combined with our instinctive drive to help others, has created something new. A model of crisis response that honors both logical efficiency and emotional intelligence. The chamber filled with thoughtful light patterns as the council members processed this perspective. High Counselor Vex's stern red glow had softened to a more contemplative purple. We've always believed that advanced civilization meant moving beyond emotional responses, they said slowly. Perhaps we were wrong. Not wrong, Sarah corrected gently. Just incomplete. Emotion without logic leads to chaos, but logic without emotion leads to stagnation. The true mark of an advanced civilization is finding the balance between them. Commander Zix 427's form brightened. This is why I believe humanity deserves more than just membership in the Council. They should lead a new division dedicated to crisis response and civil defense. Let them teach us what they do instinctively, how to remain connected to our fundamental values, even as we advance technologically. The chamber erupted in discussions, crystalline forms shifting through rainbow hues as council members debated this unprecedented proposal. But Sarah noticed something remarkable. The younger council members were already showing color patterns that mimicked human emotional responses. Just as humans were learning to integrate alien technology, the aliens were beginning to rediscover their own capacity for emotional intelligence. Tell me, Dr. Chen, a council member asked, their form showing genuine curiosity, how do you teach someone to care? Sarah thought of Maria Santos and her rescue team, of countless other humans who risked their lives daily for strangers. We don't teach caring, she replied. We demonstrate it. Every time we help someone in need, we show others that it's possible, that it matters, that it makes us stronger as a civilization. And once people see that, whether they're human or alien, they naturally want to be part of it. As the council continued their discussions, Sarah reflected on how far both species had come in just 1 month. Humans were rapidly adapting alien technology to improve their disaster response capabilities, while aliens were learning to trust their dormant emotional instincts. Together, they were creating something unprecedented in galactic history. A civilization that could bridge the gap between technological advancement and emotional wisdom. 1 year after the earthquakes that changed 2 civilizations, the newly established Galactic Crisis Response Center buzzed with activity. Inside its crystalline walls, humans and aliens worked side by side, their differences forgotten in their shared mission of saving lives across the galaxy. Fire Chief Maria Santos, now Director of Emergency Response Training, stood beside Commander Zix 427 as they watched teams of humans and aliens run through simulation drills. The commander's crystalline form glowed with what Maria had learned to recognize as pride. Did you ever imagine this when you were secretly observing Earth? She asked, gesturing to where a human paramedic was teaching a group of crystalline aliens about rapid triage procedures. Never, the commander admitted, their form shimmering with amusement. We thought we were studying a primitive species. Instead, we found teachers. A holographic alert materialized in the center of the room, showing a massive solar storm threatening a populated system near the galactic core. Within seconds, Both human and alien response teams were mobilizing, their movements choreographed with practiced precision. Dr. Sarah Chen, now the human representative on the Galactic Council, entered the control room. "Progress report," she asked, watching the teams prepare for deployment. "Response time improved by 23% from last month," Maria reported. "More importantly, look at how they're working together." The observation screens showed the seamless integration they'd achieved. Alien technology enhanced human intuition, while human adaptability helped deploy that technology in innovative ways. But most remarkably, the aliens themselves had begun showing more human-like responses, rushing to help without waiting for complex calculations, trusting their instincts alongside their logic. "The Council has been monitoring these changes with great interest," Sarah said, smiling as she watched a crystalline alien comfort a nervous human recruit. Some of the older members were worried that exposure to human emotional responses would make their species less efficient. Instead, they're finding that embracing both logic and emotion makes them more effective than ever. Commander 6427's form pulsed with thoughtful light. "We spent millennia pursuing technological advancement, believing it was the only path to civilization. Humanity showed us what we've forgotten. That true advancement means growing in all directions, not just scientific ones." The alert system chimed again, updating them on the solar storm's progression. Maria watched as human and alien team leaders quickly huddled together, combining their different perspectives to form a response plan. "You know what still amazes me," she said. "A year ago, we were strangers from different worlds. Now look at us, working together, learning from each other, saving lives across the galaxy. All because you decided to break protocol and help during our earthquakes." The commander's form brightened. "Actually, we broke protocol by revealing ourselves. You were the ones who taught us how to help." Sarah's expression grew serious as she studied the deployment data. "We're tracking similar progress across multiple sectors. Civilizations that once waited for official approval before responding to crises are now taking immediate action. Species that used to calculate cost-benefit ratios before helping others are learning to trust their instincts. The galaxy is changing, one rescue at a time. And it all started because humans refused to let statistics determine whether a life was worth saving," the commander added, their crystalline surface reflecting the busy activity around them. A young alien recruit approached Maria, their form showing the swirling colors of uncertainty. "Director Santos, I've been studying the human concept of courage. I understand the theoretical definitions, but how do you teach someone to be brave?" Maria smiled, remembering similar conversations from her firefighting days. "We don't teach bravery," she explained. "We demonstrate it. Every time we help others despite our fears, we show that courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about acting despite that fear because someone needs us." The recruit's form pulsed with understanding. "Is that why humans run toward danger instead of away from it?" "We run toward danger because we know that's where help is needed most," Maria corrected. "And now, thanks to this partnership, we can help more effectively than ever before." As if to emphasize her point, the deployment sirens began to sound. Teams of humans and aliens moved with swift precision toward their ships, ready to face whatever challenge awaited them in the galactic core. Commander 6427 watched them go, their form glowing with the same determined light they'd seen in human rescue workers a year ago. "We came to Earth looking for signs of advanced civilization. Instead, we found something far more valuable, a reminder of what civilization is supposed to be about." Sarah nodded, watching the rescue ships depart. "Not just about technological achievement or logical efficiency, but about preserving our connection to each other," Maria finished. "About remembering that every life has value. Every person matters, and sometimes the most logical thing we can do is listen to our hearts." As the ships disappeared into hyperspace, carrying their mixed crews of humans and aliens to help those in need, they left behind more than just empty launch bays. They carried with them the legacy of that first earthquake response, A legacy that proved true civilization isn't measured by the height of its achievements, but by its willingness to reach down and help others up. In the end, humanity hadn't just joined galactic civilization. They had helped redefine what civilization meant.